So I have Alpha Force Zero here with me. She just went and visited my mom, a Jehovah's Witness. Why don't you tell us about it? What happened?
Um, okay, so a few different things happened. I mean,
By the way, we released a video about it on my main channel earlier today.
yep,
So check that out if you want to. What else happened? You went to some meetings and
yeah.
stuff, right?
So the video that we released on the main channel today talked about the first meeting I went to, and I went to another one. Well, starting from the beginning, Grandma and I got into an argument completely unrelated in the car. So the second we got into the Kingdom Hall, I went to the bathroom to just chill out for a minute. I don't want to deal with I don't want to deal with everything when I'm supposed to be sitting completely silent next to her for the next hour and 45 minutes. So I went to the bathroom to chill out, wash my face, whatever. And this lady just kind of like walked in. She was there during my first meeting, but the second she didn't speak to me once during the first one, but she saw me there for a second time and immediately, "Oh my gosh, I haven't seen you since you were little. How have you been? I love you so much. You're so amazing and pretty and perfect. Your eyes are gorgeous." I got a lot of compliments on my eyes. Um,
Love bombing.
and it only started after the second time because they figured since I went back a second time, that obviously means I'm staying.
And most people probably know, but in case you don't, love bombing is a standard technique to get people to want to return to meetings. When you're complimented, you feel good about yourself, you want to go back. They intentionally try to make it an area where you feel happy.
Yeah. So, well, I already wasn't happy because of the argument, the stupidest argument ever, but I was putting on my Kingdom Hall act, which I assume a lot of them put on too, which is I'm never supposed to be like sad or upset at the Kingdom Hall. I'm always smiling, thanking people, hugging them, shaking their hand. I noticed a lot of the women go in for hugs and a lot of the men go in for handshakes. So I went in, I sat down, and Grandma basically just acted like nothing happened, like we hadn't gotten into an argument. I found out later that she actually told that person directly before the meeting, the person who stopped me in the bathroom, that we had gotten into an argument and that I was avoiding her and that I was angry.
Okay.
And the lady said, "Oh, do you want me to go talk to them?" And she said no, but of course did it anyways, because whatever. I'm sure she was surprised to find I was not upset. Because it was like I was upset in the car, but the entire reason I was in there is to chill out, and I'm not spreading my issues to random strangers in a Kingdom Hall.
The fact is, with Grandma, she is, while trying to respect people's privacy here, she has spent basically the last 20 years or more, 30, not talking to her children. It's been only like 15 years or 20 for me, but even before me, her other kid, she didn't talk to him from the moment he turned 18. And she feels now that she's lost all of that time and that all of her relationships are broken because they are. And she worries every single argument, every bad interaction is going to, end everything. You know what I mean?
Mhm. And I'm not that kind of person. I'm not just gonna stop talking to someone because of one bad interaction. And I think like I've done my best to make that clear to her, but she does not get it. There have been times when I've had to stop talking to her because of things that she's done. It's just I don't know. She cannot stand the fact that someone out there doesn't like her, and so she will do literally everything, tell literally everyone all of the issues just to make sure that it stops. But anyways, we got in, and I have notes on that too, which are in my bedroom. We got in, I sat down, and everyone stood up and started singing. It was song 28, 38, one of those. And it's all very cultish, always, every single time. We sat down. I'm trying to remember what we talked about specifically. And I talked about it with dad. All right, so it's in a different notebook than the first one because I forgot the first one. But when I got there, let's see, what did I write? I had someone give me notes, like paper. I had someone give me paper, said I could write stuff. Psalm 96 was on the screen. I don't know what verse that is,
I'm
but
not. I'm not sure. Let's find out.
when I walked in, that's what was on the screen. I'm actually gonna send you. I got pictures of the Kingdom Hall too.
Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the earth. So it was about singing, I guess. For great is the Lord, most worthy of praise, so on and so forth. God, it's so culty and weird.
So yeah, they had that just on the screen right there. That's what they do a lot. They just kind of put the verse up. So this Kingdom Hall has windows in it.
Which is unusual. Some Kingdom Halls do not have windows. And nobody really knows why. Like, there isn't a solid explanation. I'm going to assume it's because they don't want people, like, they don't want people looking in when Armageddon comes, or when the tribulation comes specifically, and they're all being hunted or whatever, the way they think is going to happen. Yeah, that's my guess.
I wrote this in a language that I learned back in 2021, so it takes me a second to read it still.
Anyway, yeah, what you find at Kingdom Halls is nonstop love bombing, and it is an absolutely bizarre thing to experience if you never experience it. And I understand that my mom basically said, if you ever want to feel good about yourself, then go to the Kingdom Hall because they'll compliment you and stuff. Like, what a thing to say.
She took a picture of us, and okay, so we were talking to one of the elders' wives, which an elder
We call
is
them elderettes. It's a derogatory term.
an elder is basically the leader of that, like one of the leaders of that congregation. I don't know
Yeah.
how many elders, whatever.
5, 10, depends.
Yeah. So we were talking to one of them, one of their wives, and I put my arm. I really like physical touch. I will go up, I'll hug him whenever. I'll just rest my arm on someone, I'll lean against someone. So I was doing that with grandma, and I do that a lot everywhere. I put my arm on her shoulder, I rested it like that. And in the middle of her talking, stopped talking and said, "Look how comfortable she is at the Kingdom Hall. Can you take a picture so I can show her dad how comfortable she is at the Kingdom Hall?" I Okay. Um, I was comfortable because I was with someone I knew, and I was tired because we were there an extra 30 minutes trying to get her blood card all filled out. But yeah, she took the picture, and after that, I brought up how everyone was complimenting me and stuff, and she said, "Well, yeah, if you now you know, if you ever want to feel loved, go to a Kingdom Hall." And I thought she was joking at first, cuz like that's a crazy thing to say, right? Like you don't Oh, like, what do you mean join a religion because I feel unloved? Um,
But that works
for
for,
some
yeah,
people.
like, I don't know, 10, 15% of the population. I mean, 7% of the population thinks chocolate milk comes from brown cows. So it
So
works for some subset.
so she said that, and I was like, "Oh yeah, go to a random kingdom hall." She knows I don't believe in God. She knows that I don't have any interest in this apart from dad being a Jehovah's Witness, her being a Jehovah's Witness, me going to meetings when I was younger. She said that, and I said, "Oh yeah, right, like go to a random kingdom hall." And she said, "Yeah, yeah, exactly." So in the middle of me saying that, I stopped. I went, "Yeah, right." And then realized I was speaking to
I thought you said as if, and I thought that
Oh
was
yeah,
really
I
funny.
probably did say
You
as
said
if.
as if. Anyway,
Yeah,
go on.
as if like completely forgetting that I was speaking to one of the elders' wives and my grandmother and still in a kingdom hall. I
Super awkward.
screamed it. They moved on quickly. They
Oh
understood.
boy.
Um, but I was like, wow, that's such a crazy. I don't know. She said that, and then later on, or maybe it was earlier. I don't know. At some point, we were talking about me not wanting to believe in God, me not whatever, and as like a follow up thing, a few days after that, she said, "Well, we were talking about Jehovah's Witnesses and their community and how they are all very connected. They're always willing to help." And she said, "Well, you don't want that. You don't want that community or something." I said, "No, I don't need that. I have friends." And thinking back, that was probably a little harsh, but I'm sure she didn't take it in the way that it was intended, where
Oh, she probably did.
I
You
said,
mean she took it negatively, right?
well, negatively, but where I was saying she has no friends. She's alone.
Well, she does have friends. They're just Jehovah's Witness friends, and I
Yeah,
think
but
they
we were
kind of
talking
feel an
about
obligation to be around.
we were talking about Jehovah's Witnesses and their sense of community and how they're all close and friendly with each other. And I said, I don't need that. Or she said, you don't want that. And I said, I don't need that. I have friends.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
She is completely alone. She has no one.
And
No one who cares about her outside of the religion.
and that's her fault, of course.
Yeah, if she left the religion right now, she would be completely 100% alone aside from like me or dad or whatever kid is willing to talk to her.
Well, if she left the religion, I would be all in to help, of
Yeah,
course. But
but
she
outside of that, she wouldn't have anyone
right.
outside of family.
Right, like even her housekeeper, everybody, the person mows her lawn, they're all because she's like old. They're
Yeah.
all Jehovah's Witnesses, every one of them.
She has a person who goes in and cleans. She has a person who goes in and like dusts because she has a lot of antiques and
Mm.
like glass things. She had me do that when I was there, but generally she has those, and every single one of them, every single one is a Jehovah's Witness. She was very clear on that too. She said her housekeeper wasn't doing a good job, but she didn't want to fire her because she didn't know any other witnesses who could do it.
Absolutely wild. Like I said, this is all her doing. She has destroyed her social life, her friendships, her relationships with her children, and when you get old, you don't have anybody around. That's what happens. Like I don't know what else she expected from her actions, from her own actions. And it's sad, but she made her bed and now she's lying in it, I guess.
Someone asked who I am. I'm his daughter.
AFZ.
Yeah, AFZ Alpha Zero.
Somebody asked if you were my wife, and someone asked if we were siblings, right? People
Yeah.
ask us those
People,
questions
yeah, a
all the time
lot.
because I look younger than I am.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you were young when you had me. I'm
I was
16. He's like
30.
barely 20 years older than me.
Yeah. I was basically 18. I was 18 when
When mom was pregnant.
yeah.
But yeah, anyways, she I forgot where I was going. Oh, right. So I said I don't need that, and I wonder if she took it in the way that I meant it. I wonder if she took it to mean she has no friends. She has no one. But anyways, at one point we were discussing Jesus, how Jesus could prove that he was really God's son, stuff like that. And I used like the Pope as an example. So he was the only religious figure I could think of. I used the Pope as an example. She said, well, first of all, she said, Jesus did miracles. And I said, yeah, if a guy walked up to me and did miracles, I'd believe in God too. If someone walked up to me and did magic without any of the sleight of hand tricks, I would believe him. He's adjusting for me. But yeah, and she said that people believed Jesus was the son of God because he did miracles, and that proves that he was the son of God because no one would have believed him otherwise. And I said, well, like that's when I brought up the Pope because she doesn't think that the Pope can speak to God or anything like that, but everyone else is pretty confident. All of the Catholics are sitting there 100% convinced. And so that made her upset. That made her really angry. She said, the Pope is being controlled by Satan. He's not speaking to God. Satan's whatever.
Which is wild because Jehovah's Witnesses have historically like hated Catholics, and that was part of the reason why they were banned in Nazi Germany was because of their problems with the Catholic organization. But to hear the Catholic hate come out so brazenly is kind of crazy.
Yeah, and well, because I didn't even know that when I said it. I had no idea that there was an issue between Jehovah's Witnesses and Catholics.
Well, there isn't. Jehovah's Witnesses have that issue,
Well,
like
I didn't
nobody
know that
else
there was an
does.
issue the
Yeah,
Jehovah's Witnesses had with Catholics.
yeah.
Um,
Nobody cares but them. Is the
yeah.
point.
But yeah, no, it was like the first religious figure that came to my mind. Well, then we sat there for a little bit, going back and forth, and it was basically Jesus performed miracles, and that's why people believed he was the Son of God. But he could have just been really confident. People believe anyone who's really, really confident about something. And the Pope is the same way. No, the Pope is being controlled by Satan and the devil.
Mhm.
Over and over and over again, basically in a loop.
So it's basically circular reasoning then, right?
Yeah, and I told them I brought up the circular reasoning thing with her like a good bit, and she said, "Oh, I used to think like that, but I
Yeah.
read more of the Bible."
Yeah, totally. That'll
Um,
do it. So anyway, what happened next? Any other interesting like debates you had with her or anything like that?
I had so many debates with her. Tends to shut down when someone says anything negative about Jehovah's Witnesses, and she tried doing that multiple times with me, but I would go back, I'd step back and say, "No, no, no, I'm trying to learn. If you teach me," and then I'd go and I'd debunk it. I'd say, "Well, this isn't true because," and then she'd shut down, and it was that kind of cycle. With the homophobic thing, there were a lot of instances. So occasionally she would say, she doesn't know that I'm bi. So occasionally she would say, gay people should be repressing their sexual urges. Yeah, gay people should be repressing their sexual urges. No Jehovah's Witnesses are gay, which there were. I can tell you that with 100% certainty.
Just the ones you saw in the hall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw 3 in the hall, and then I spoke to an ex JW that I'm friends with still. I knew her when I was little. And she's a lesbian now that she's gotten out.
Speaking of which, her congregation used to be like 150 people, and I understand now it's like 30, 40, maybe 50, right?
35. I counted on the
That's
second day.
tiny. They are shrinking dramatically. Jehovah's Witnesses are. That's nuts, right?
Yeah. But yeah, she said there are no gay Jehovah's Witnesses or anything, which obviously I know isn't true. She I had that ex JW friend over, and we were speaking to one of my friends who is bi she's bi, and I was calling her on the phone while my grandma was outside with my ex JW friend. So we were all talking, and my grandma walked back in and she asked what we were talking about because I was telling my friend to quiet down to like change topics. And I told her, "Oh, a gay thing," because I knew that she wouldn't ask questions. She made me hang up on my friend and then dragged me to the bathroom for a private conversation. Obviously, my friend isn't an idiot. She knew what my grandma was saying to me. Basically, the short summary was that I shouldn't be speaking about gay things and gay people inside of her house. She doesn't want my friend to get those influences from her house and from me and whatever. She doesn't know what my friend's mother is okay with and what influences she's fine with. So I shouldn't be exposing my friend to gay people, basically. This is a lesbian child, by the way.
She has no sense of boundaries and is absolutely dead set on the fact that she is correct about all of this. And there's no principle to be found. This is what bothers me about it so much. Like, Jehovah's Witnesses don't stand on principle. There isn't like, well, if I have free speech, then you should have free speech too. That doesn't exist with those types of people. It's, I have free speech and you should not. I can practice my religion and you should not. Now, Jehovah's Witnesses specifically are in a subcategory of religious nutcase where they are considered a persecuted minority. So they do tend to at least pretend to support freedom of religion. But you can bet your bottom dollar, if they had the opportunity, they would ban other religions as well. Anyway, yeah, thank you so much for telling me about that. It's really interesting.
Yeah, there was a
It's
lot.
it's an interesting glimpse into like Jehovah's Witness culture that you don't get out on the outside.
Every morning she was every morning she was on Zoom, she was talking to other Jehovah's Witnesses and studying. At one point
Really, she does Zoom calls with Jehovah's
in the
Witnesses, huh?
mornings, yeah. She usually goes in person, but every single morning she's on Zoom. At one point I
Interesting.
had or at 2 different points in time, I had a friend over in the morning, and then my cousin had a sleepover with me the following day. So she was over in the morning. At both points in time, she went to a separate room so that she could study without us like being loud or getting annoyed with her, her getting annoyed with us. So yeah, every single morning. Wait, was that made up Minecraft language from the Dream SMP? Yeah.
Yes. No, people can read it now. That's wow. Somebody recognized that. That's nuts.
I love anyone who recognized that. You guys are
Yeah,
awesome.
that's crazy.
Yeah, 2021 me was, and I still use it every single day. I love it. Anyways,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
That's interesting. Is there something else you were gonna?
basically, moral of the story, it's like deep in her life, deeply rooted in her life. If she got out, she wouldn't know what to do.
I know
She,
it. Like it takes up every moment, every free moment of your life.
yeah, she wouldn't have anything to do. Even when I was there, she made free time for me, but she was still going out door knocking and letter writing and whatever else. Also, letter writing is creepy. I I did it when I was a little kid, and that was fine. Like, I didn't comprehend it. But she was telling me how she's gonna do research. She's gonna look up people's addresses and names and
Yep.
stuff. And I was like deeply creeped out by that. What do you mean you're looking up this person's address so that you can send them random letters? That's so weird.
Yep. It is weird, and again, like it takes up every moment of your life.
It's a little if they weren't a crazy cult, I'd feel bad that they have no young people because children are how they get others into the cult.
Right.
There was a 22-year-old who came over and spoke to me. I think she was 21 actually. Came over and spoke to me in the first meeting, and she literally made me want to go back to more meetings, and then I sat there and thought about it for a second. I was like, "Wow. This woman just came over and complimented my hair, and now I want to go back." That's deeply
So it
concerning.
works.
The younger the people there, the more members they get because the like more family friendly and the more cute it all seems. I I wrote letters to people when I was little and people would see the messy childlike handwriting and actually sit there for a second and consider it. Sorry.
All right. Well, thank you for talking about it. It's very interesting. We'll talk about it more later on.